Good afternoon, this is Jim Whitehead of All Power Group. I'm glad to be here. We moved from Davie, Florida to Naples, Florida, and because we needed a, kind of you might say, a room, a building, so that I could do content creation. The building you're looking at is, I don't want to say the final result, but it's pretty close. And the interesting thing, if you ever say, well, we're going to put this prefab building, it comes totally empty and you have to build it out. You have to do air conditioning, you have to do painting, drywall, insulation, and flooring, and get all my equipment in here, get it to fit, get it to work, and we're pretty close. So what I'm going to talk about today is, and this was done on purpose, where I decided that I was going to keep this building off grid. I did that so that I would have the opportunity to do some testing of what is called the solar generator, which what it really is, you can connect solar, and what it does is you charge batteries, and I charge the batteries in this unit that I'll show you in a little bit, and by the time I come here in the morning, everything's ready to go. The interesting thing with being off grid, you have to be very careful on how much power you use, because it isn't, yes, on power going into your home, you use more power, you pay more. But in here, if I use more power, too much power, I won't get through the day. So it's really an interesting phenomena and opportunity to learn new things. My background is, for 20 years, I was a Generac generator home standby dealer. I still am, but I'm working more on, again, solar, these solar generators, batteries, etc. Because they're getting to a point, and I'll show you some differences as we go through this, they're getting to a point of where you can store a lot of power, and you'll see as I go through the presentation the neatest thing and why I went where I am today. You can even add the capacity beyond what I have now. So if it's like, well, that's not enough power, you can basically move forward. Okay, what you're seeing is kind of messy, but this is the inside of the building, and I'm still kind of getting it straightened out, but it gives me the opportunity to get better at doing what I'm doing, which is mainly YouTube content creation, which I always have wanted to do. I started a channel in 2007 and didn't have a real lot of time to actually do the work, so because of the generator business. So now I'm old enough, and now I'm pretty much doing this full time. So there you see I have Apples and Apple TVs and a lot of monitors, a lot of keyboards, and I'm just having a great time. Now, what you're seeing, and in a video in a little bit ago, a little bit of time ago, I was using the Anker 767 in companion battery. It was a good battery system. It worked pretty well, but it had two things that made it where I felt I needed to do something different. And that was one, that the main output, and where if you see and look at the picture where you see the green connection, on the Anker, that was only 20 amps. Typically, that connection, it's called an RV connection, and it has certainly another electrical description, but the best is saying RV connection, they're typically 30 amps. So I sent the Anker equipment back, and I bought my first EcoFlow equipment. And what you're looking at is the Echo Delta Pro, which is on the left, and its companion battery on the right. Also, you're seeing a little bit more to the right, some additional batteries, because especially if it's hot, today it's a beautiful, wonderful, cool day. It's about 71 degrees actually. You know, the power isn't going too badly, and with this setup like this, I could pretty much get through the day. But the only capability of increasing this capacity was an additional companion battery that would have connected to this on the other side, and it would give me about 9 kilowatt hours of power. That seemed, whereas I got used to this building, and I had said to my wife and other people talking about the building, they'd say, well, how much power are you gonna need? I said, I have no idea, because this was kind of like an empty space. And I did all the electrical, all the panels and the outlets and so on and so forth. So I had to come to a point of saying, should I just expand this unit, or should I go to the Delta Pro Ultra that came out? They had, announced it quite a while back, but it actually hit the streets on January 9th. So instead of adding to this system, I ended up selling these two that you see and going to the Ultra. And I'll be talking more about the Ultra because this is what I consider a generator home standby replacement, because again, you can store a significant amount of power, and you can increase it if you need to. Now you're looking just at another picture of what I just showed you. The unit on the left is the Delta Pro, and that is both battery storage inside and also the main connections. And you can see it, spoke about that 30 amp connection. That was very important. And when you plug these in at the end of the day, when you're down, to whatever percent when you finish your day, this will take, depending on how much power you charge and how much solar you're getting, it will take a certain amount of time to get back up to 100%. When you do, the next morning, it's all set to go. Right now, these are the solar panels I have. And part of this being off-grid was when I was needing to be inspected by the Collier County Building Department. I figured that if I had put solar panels on the roof of this building, I would have very quickly, the inspector would have said, you didn't get a permit to do this. And I would have said, you're right. And with the generator business, I've done permitting for 20 years. Boy, that's why I'm gray. But this, where if they said, you get solar panels, I'd say, well, these are not permanently installed, and they're not portable. A lot of folks use these, for example, if they go away with their RV, they might have the Delta Pro companion battery, and in this case, you see we've got 3 sets of panels, and each set is 200 watts. So on a real good day, I will get only approximately, you never get the full, in this case 600 watts. You might get 500, 550. You can literally, as you're looking at the output of the solar panels, if you had you're not looking outside, you'd say, oh, the sun just went in. The problem I have here is one in the winter, the sun is at a whole different angle, approximately 15 degrees, and of course the short days. So the power return in the winter on any solar panels is different than in the summer when the sun is at 45 degrees and you have almost 4 to 5 hours more power potential with the sun staying out. Now, this is my pride and joy. I know you're probably saying, boy, this thing makes you kind of simple, but this is the Delta Pro Ultra. Now, as you're seeing it, it is as my other solar equipment. You've got the 30 amp, and that goes up to what we call a manual transfer switch, which I turn off when I'm shutting the building down to charge all night, and then we put that on in the day. But what's nice about this, the initial kit that you buy, and you'll see at the end of the presentation the capability of the additional amount of power. But this comes with, what's on top is the inverter. What an inverter does is it takes DC power and converts it to AC power. DC power is like what you have in your car battery. Here, when solar power is coming in, it comes in as DC power. So and the batteries get charged with DC power, direct current. But to use that power, unless you're running something that is DC, which there aren't a lot of typical devices you use that are DC, unless small things, but all homes and what have you are AC power. But the inverter takes the DC power that it's stored or is coming in and converts or inverts it to AC power, which is what we use to run everything. Now this came with the one battery. Just to get going, when I ordered the system, ordered an additional battery. Now what you're looking at, this has about 12 kilowatt hours of battery storage, but wait until I show you some more as I continue. Okay, the neatest thing is you can literally just keep adding batteries, and the unit I just showed you that has 2 batteries, I can add, they just stack on the bottom, I can add an additional 3 batteries. So I could go up another approximately 16 kilowatt hours of power. Now what you're seeing here is it's not all tricked out, but and this is what I'm installing with my electrician. It's a service panel that can interfaces into your standard home breaker panel system, and you can take up to 12 items out of your main panel and move them into this panel. And now let's say you're an AC, a hot water heater, TVs, lighting, etc., will now be running off the system. And if you lose power, and this is a transfer switch also, and all a transfer switch does is it switches from, if you're connected to the grid, it will say, whoops, no power coming in from, in this case, FPL. So now I'm going to need to switch the connection to go to those additional, the 12 circuits I mentioned. So again, those will run, and depending how much power they use, that will depend on how long you go. But the fact that you can expand this, you might say, well, in my case, the 2 batteries I have here, I need, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to add a 3rd battery. So I really have some robust power here in the building. Now, this is the last picture. Again, what we're showing here is that panel I mentioned, and it can connect. I mean, you can just do literally one system, one battery into this panel, or you can go to the nth degree. That would be 3 inverter systems. You can see 3 of them each on top of the other, next to each other. And each of these has 5 battery systems. So in other words, the coolest thing, it's not cheap, but it's actually cheaper than generators, to be honest with you, especially when you have to put in we'll put in either a 500 or 1,000 gallon propane tank. You can add all these battery system and you will have 90 kilowatt hours of storage. Now, let's say you're out of power for a week. If you have installed, like I have, even though they're not permanent, solar panels, you will be getting, as soon as the storm passes and it's now a beautiful sunny day and you hope your house is still here, but you will be able to use that power, but you also can produce power from the sun. And I'm going to add additional panels. As I said, I have 600 watts now. I want to go up to about 1,000, 1,200 watts, so that I'm basically not paying for that particular power that is generated by the generator. But anyway, I want to thank you. By the way, this is exciting. I hit 500 subscribers, and it's taken me, believe it or not, a year and a half, but I love it. I just want to thank you so much for helping me and subscribing to my channel. And as I get this building more set up, these videos hopefully will get better, and I have a lot of information to share. But again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please be well, take care, be safe.